Injured in an accident, call Ponce Law at 615-244-4321. Ponce Law, justice for all. The Tennessee Titans practiced in pads for the first time during training camp this morning, and we got to see the new-look offensive line compete with full contact. Head coach Brian Callahan spoke earlier this morning about what he wants to see from the guys up front as the pads go on.
Yeah, just what you said, cohesion's a big part of it, how we come off the ball, how we work in combination together with all the different combination blocks that happen up front. Just see what those actually get to look like when we can really come off the ball the right way. You know, anytime you're not in pads, you're mindful of that banging back and forth. So we get to go now. The governors are off and we can come off the football, and all those things are a part of the process, but excited to be able to see it happen for real finally.
The Titans will be back on the practice field tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Keep it tuned right here on 102.5 The Game for all of your training camp updates. And be sure to tune in tonight as the Nashville Sound start a series against Scranton Wilkes-Barre. Pregame starts at 5:20 with first pitch at 5:35 on 94.9 The Fan.
For more, log on to theGameNashville.com. Your sports live here on the Game Nashville Sports Network.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9 The Fan.
30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee. It's the George Plaster Show, featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famers Kelly Holcomb and young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. We are in Murfreesboro, Tennessee at the Hall of Fame building on the campus of MTSU, right behind the football stadium. I know it's hard for you all to probably see in the background if you're watching. They will unveil tonight a beautiful new $66 million athletic facility, and the family that's involved in that, Steve Smith, his brother Reese Smith, I've been friends with for years, so we are thrilled to be here tonight. A lot of festivities going on shortly after we get off the air. Let me really quick for just a second say hello to Kelly Holcomb. Kelly, I'm looking at the Blue Raider Hall of Fame donor recognition, and your name is right there.
Correct.
Yeah.
That is right.
That's
long time ago.
Commendable. If you go over to Father Ryne, you will see none of that with Billy.
BGA, will we see any of it with George?
I would consider it gifts in kind.
Oh, is that right? Sweat equity, is that what we're talking about here?
Sweat equity, absolutely. Well done.
Nice.
Hello, William.
Hello. You seem to forget my age. Sometimes.
Well, that's a good point.
Really, exactly what is your age? We want to know your age. I do, because I've never asked. What is your age?
I'm 25.
25.
Yeah, I was 25.
25 going on 12.
Thanks, Kelly.
I was 25 after Watergate.
George, you were 25 80 years ago.
No, hold on. Today, Kelly, big day on the show. We start the award-winning Daily Titans Updates with Terry McCormick, and he is on with us by phone. Terry, shortly after you get off, nice retro Sounds hat. Very nice.
That is nice.
Thank you. Picked that up in the pro shop when I was at a game there a couple of weeks ago.
Shortly after that, I will get into a little bit of a rant on one of the all-time termites in baseball, and that would be Scott Boras.
Termite,
who said about Bryce Harper, Harper has been fighting the consequences of caps his whole life. Please.
Give me a break.
Give me a friggin' break.
Seriously.
We start a telethon?
We might. So let me ask an interesting question here to start with, Terry. I know that you probably know more about this than I do. Last night, Will Levis tweeted out a picture of his shoulder that was not very pretty. What has gone on here? Because this feels like something that should have been addressed long before it was. I'm not a doctor. I guess I'm trying to play one, which is scary, but what in the world went on here?
Well, I think, the doctors apparently told Levis to, rest and rehab and see where it was. And if he still felt discomfort, he could then opt for surgery. And it sounds like that what he did was exactly that. And he went through the off-season program, and now he's having the surgery today, as a matter of fact. So, it is kind of a convoluted thing, but I guess going back to what we discussed when he decided to shut it down on the eve of training camp, he made a business decision. He made a decision that's in the best interest of Will Levis and his health and his career going forward, whether that's with the Titans or whether that's with another team. He wants to be 100% when his next opportunity comes. And quite honestly, I can't blame him for that.
I'm not blaming him for that either. But when you look at this picture, that's nasty.
It is. It's a little bit kind of, maybe the angle is a little distorted to make it look worse, but it is pretty gruesome looking, and you wonder, it's like, well, what if that's the way it actually looks, what doctor would have said, yeah, play through it, just rest?
Gosh. Okay, tell me what's going on out there. We'll probably get back into this at some point.
First day in pads for Titans out there at St. Thomas Sports Park, and rough day for Cam Ward. 3 interceptions, one of them on some obvious miscommunication, one on a ball that he dropped down and tried to throw it through a window, and it hit off Devondre Sweat's helmet, and Gabe Judy Lolly caught it off the deflection and took it the other way. And then one where it was a deep ball down the sidelines, kind of a deep throw intended for Josh Wiley, and Darrell Baker just out-jumped him and took the ball. So not a great start for Cam Ward for his first day in pads, kind of reminiscent really of, some of that, how the offense looked last year against Seattle when there were some struggles in those joint practices. That's a little bit of what it reminded me of, because there were a lot of mistakes, mistakes that they hope Cam Ward can learn from. Drop passes in addition to the 3 interceptions. Big day for the defense. The one thing that I would say that was a, beacon of hope for the offense was when they went down for one-on-ones, between the offensive lineman and the defensive lineman. That's what Jim Washburn and Mike Munchak used to refer to as the championship of the world. And the offensive guys, Skoronski, Latham, Zeitler, some of those guys, they really held their own and held up well against the defense that really had gotten the better of them in the early part of camp because, the pads weren't on.
Okay, we're going to run on this. We're off to a good start. Terry, I don't know how to tell you this. I will not be wearing a suit every day.
I had wondered what was going on. My other question is this. You're in Murfreesboro, right?
Yes.
Kelly, I normally have your back every time.
Hey,
how come you're in your living room?
Microphones, we got to have microphones, man. Like Billy gets flustered if there's more people coming on. So,
That's
I'm just telling you.
That's a lame excuse.
Here's an extra one right here. Seems to have debunked that little myth.
Hey, I was told the other day I wasn't needed, so I was like, okay.
All
right.
You're not worth the trouble. Terry, we'll see you tomorrow.
See ya.
That's Terry McCormick's award-winning. What award? I don't know, but it sounded good. Daily Titans update. So, Billy, let me do one thing here before you go to the update. Just a thought. We're headed, it feels like, more than a year from now to another labor stoppage, if you will, in baseball. Baseball cannot afford for that to happen. I have no problem with Bryce Harper telling Rob Manfred to F off. Manfred deserves it. He's an idiot. He's known for some time, the players don't trust him at all, and with good reason. But when Scott Boras comes out and says Harper has been fighting the consequences of caps his whole life, I want to puke.
That's bad.
I mean, he's got a $300+ million contract. How hard has life been?
You think you could live off that, George?
Yeah, but here's the problem, Kelly, is that the general public does not appreciate that kind of comment. That's
Not
stupid.
at all.
Scott
Stupid.
Boras is a termite and has always been a termite. He's one of the worst things that's ever happened to baseball. He fights for his clients, and I give him that. But this kind of stuff, please, I want to puke.
Yeah, that's pretty bad, man. And that gets people, like, the money situation in professional sports, and now it's going down into college, is kind of getting out of hand. And when you see somebody say something like that about some of these players that are getting paid all this money, it doesn't go over well.
I want to puke. Billy, do you have an update?
I do. It's
That's wonderful.
Brought to you by the Music City Showdown between Tennessee and Illinois, coming up Saturday, December the 6th at Bridgestone Arena. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Well, we're going to get into this with Tony Basilio in depth, but Boo Carter, there's an update. Obviously, a lot of speculation over the last couple of weeks after he missed multiple workouts, but ESPN's Chris Lowe reported that Carter is not being dismissed from the team. And earlier today, Josh Heupel confirmed that Carter is still a part of our team. There are some things he's got to accomplish to get back on the field here. We don't have a timetable with that. So, Boo Carter staying put in Knoxville.
My guess is that Tony will have some good behind-the-scenes dirt.
In the NFL, a very disturbing story. Officials have confirmed that a gunman who killed 4 people at a Manhattan office building before killing himself was targeting the NFL headquarters, but took the wrong elevator. He shot several people yesterday in the lobby, but accidentally entered the wrong set of elevator banks. 4 people, including an off-duty police officer, were killed. The shooter did play high school football in California roughly a decade ago, but never in the NFL, and police say he had a history of mental illness.
Terrible story.
Also in the MLB, another tough story. Former Cubs Hall of Fame second baseman Ryne Sandberg passed away yesterday at the age of 65. He had announced last year that he had been diagnosed with metastatic prostate cancer. He had chemotherapy and radiation treatments and then said he was cancer-free, but said in December that his cancer had returned and spread to other organs. But, man, a legend, obviously, in Chicago.
You know, you're hard-pressed to believe this, but in a city where you had the great Walter Payton, where you had the great Michael Jordan, Ryne Sandberg is as beloved as either of those two. And that's pretty amazing. Ryne Sandberg, Rhino, I never met him, but a heck of a human being. This is a huge loss in the city of Chicago.
I did see, too, where he was a manager with the Chattanooga Lookouts, I want to say, for a little bit. Or maybe was it the Smokies? Forget whether it was the Smokies or the Lookouts.
You know what? Now that I think about it, I think I did meet him once when he managed there.
Which I didn't know that. I saw a picture of him in forget which team it was.
Ryne Sandberg was on that 84 team that Harry Carey led out of the wilderness. The Cubs were on WGN. They were the afternoon game. The Braves were on TBS that night. Superstations had just happened, and the Cubs had this dynamic what did they call it? The double, Bobby Dernier and Ryne Sandberg, the daily double. That's what Harry called him. Let me hear you.
Also, this Saturday night, you got the Speedway Classic at Bristol Motor Speedway. Everything's set up and ready to go. They are set to break MLB's regular season attendance record with 85,000 tickets sold. It will break the previous attendance record of 84,587 set back in 1954 when Cleveland Stadium hosted the Yankees. Fans have purchased tickets from all 50 states, Washington, D.C., Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, and 9 countries on 4 different continents.
It will be miserably hot, and I have no desire to see Enyel de los Santos.
George, you're hating. Stop hating.
I'm frustrated.
I understand that, but hey,
This is the summer of my baseball discontent.
not all seasons are the same.
No, but this one's been really bad. I mean,
It has.
And listen, I've lived through some really sucky Braves teams, in particular growing up. This one, this one smells bad.
And also, I saw this on ESPN earlier today. Browns co-owner Jimmy Haslam dismissed speculation that he is eyeing Arch Manning next year in the 2026 NFL Draft. Of course, Tennessee alum, strong relationship with the Manning family, including Peyton. The Browns have 2 first-round picks in the draft when Arch will be eligible. But we keep hearing, the Texas guy talked to at SEC Media Days that said that Arch is going to be there for another year after this year. So despite being eligible.
Kelly, why did he need to put that out there? Because there's so much that can happen between now and then. Arch Manning might not warrant being the first pick if he decided to come out. The Browns might not be the worst, although they feel like they'll be close. I don't know why he went there.
Yeah, the Browns, though, if you look at it, I mean, we talked about yesterday, hope, a little bit of hope. Maybe he's trying to give people hope in the franchise because they can't get right. And I played for him, and we were headed up, and then we kind of took a really bad fall. And just they've never recovered from that. I know Baker Mayfield and those guys went to the playoffs, but they've never really recovered after that. And seems like they got some good young talent, but man, it's just there is no hope right now for the Cleveland Browns fans.
It feels like they need to get Deshaun Watson out of that organization, and that contract makes it virtually impossible. But there is a stench from his behavior off the field to his performance on the field. I don't know that I've ever seen a quarterback who I thought had such electric ability in Houston. And to look at this pile of mush.
What happened?
He put, I mean, God.
Well, I've said it before. Look, you can look in his eyes. He doesn't look like he wants to play football anymore. He's gotten paid. He's gotten injured. He just feels like that he's ready to do something else, and he's still playing the game. And you can't play that way. You have to have some desire, some focus. And it just, when you look at his eyes, he don't look like he wants to be there.
It doesn't. You're exactly right.
That's what I got.
We done?
Yep.
Okay, we're done. So I'm going to read one thing real quickly because I haven't put it on tape yet. For those of you who were not with us yesterday, take one comes down in 3, 2, 1. The Plaster Show is excited to announce a big football promotion on Thursday night starting in September at Sports and Social in the Green Hills Mall. However, just to confuse you, we will have a special edition of that show on Saturday, August the 9th, with a Chalk Talk at 5:30 p.m., and then the Titans versus Tampa Bay on all those big screens at 6:30. If you haven't been to Sports and Social, you're in for a treat. Great food and the very best TV setup you have ever seen. So mark your calendars, be a part of it. We look forward to seeing you a week from Saturday. Tony Basilio's in the On Deck Circle. He'll join us next on 94.9 The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Attention, Big Orange Country. Tennessee and Illinois will square off Saturday, December the 6th at Bridgestone Arena. This is the rematch of a great college basketball game last season in Champaign that went right to the wire. And this one figures to be more of the same. Tickets are on sale now. You can grab your seats by going to Ticketmaster.com. That's Ticketmaster.com. Tennessee, Illinois. It's big time. It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
At Wilson Bank and Trust, we believe you shouldn't have to choose between personal service and digital solutions. As your local independent bank, we're proud to offer the relationships and trusted service you expect, along with the tools and technology that keep you moving forward. So whether you're growing a business, buying a home, or planning for the future, we're here to help. Because this isn't just where we work, it's where we live too. Wilson Bank and Trust, here to get you there. Member FDIC.
We work with all major insurance companies. We help to ease the stress of the auto body repair process. We're located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. If you need our services, please stop by and see us.
And how convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler.
Tonight, your Nashville Sounds are back on the road to start a 6-game series in Scranton-Wilkes-Barre. Pre-game at 5:20.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan and the Game Nashville app.
It's the George Plaster Show.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
We are on the campus of MTSU in the Blue Raider Hall of Fame room. Behind us is this beautiful new $66 million athletic complex that they will essentially christen tonight. One of the movers and shakers behind this is Steve Smith, and he will join us later to talk about it. Now, as I look, I don't think Tony is with us just yet.
Not yet.
So let me ask both of y'all this. This Boo Carter situation, can this really be in the locker room?
Personally, I don't think so. I think it's tough. And then you saw, I think Josh Heupel did a really good job of the Nico situation. He handled it pretty promptly, but we've talked about it. If he would have been a better player, they would have kept him. And I think Boo Carter probably is this player. And I don't know. It's got to be It's got to be kind of tearing the locker room apart, George, and that's not a good thing. That's not a good thing for the head coach. He's got to be decisive about this stuff. He's saying that he's not going to be off the team. But if you've got a leadership council, and we had a leadership council when I was with the Cleveland Browns, the problem with the leadership council was the head coach never listened to us. So if you're going to have a leadership council and you ask us to come in and give our opinions, and then we say stuff and you don't like what you don't like what's being said as a coach, then you shouldn't have a leadership council. Now I don't know what's going on up there, but it's like if you're not going to listen to your players and you're going to do things, you're going to lose some respect. So I don't know. I mean, we'll just have to ask Tony about all this stuff. Don't know where it's heading, but I just don't see it being good.
We're going to get Tony on by phone here in just a second. But Watson used to say this all the time, too, on the player council, especially at the college level, because Watson was a college guy. Everything's fine and sunshine and rainbows until the coach doesn't do what the council wants to do. And
Correct.
Then that gets ugly. And it is one thing after another right now with this Tennessee program. I mean, this has been an off-season comedy of errors, and we've seen off seasons like this before with Tennessee. And I'm not saying this team's going to be a disaster, but I mean, this feels ugly. I know Tony has denied it, but now Boo Carter's back on the team. How's the council feel about that? What's been going on? I mean, it's not pretty.
Is this the President's Council on Physical Fitness? Well, this is going to be interesting to see. The question becomes, okay, does it show up on the field? Because, look, there have been athletic teams over the years that have fought through this kind of crap that goes on behind the scenes. The Oakland A's, when they won in the 70s, there was more stuff that went on, off the field. You wonder on the college level if that can really be the case. And I kind of tend to doubt it.
Yeah, I just the council, as Billy calls it, if you're going to have a leadership, and I'm going to say it again, if you're going to have a leadership group of young men that come in, don't just do it just to tell all the other coaches and all the other people, I've got a leadership group that I really lean on. Like, if you're not going to lean on them, you're not going to listen to them, why have them? So
Okay.
that's different. I mean, it's tough.
I'm told Tony Basilio is with us, so let's bring him right up. Tony, thanks for joining us. What gaps can you fill in on the Boo Carter story?
Well, from what perspective? Because you guys are talking about, look, here's the deal. These coaches are always going to keep talented players on their team. Now, last week when we broke the YouTube video last week over on our YouTube channel, people said to me, well, this isn't even a story. And I said, well, okay. If it isn't a story, how come it was the first thing out of Josh Heupel's mouth today at that press conference? The reason is that the kid went AWOL from the team. The coach last week was calling people, a few of whom I know in the state, because, George, when you do this for 30 years, you kind of get to know everybody if you're doing your job and you're paying attention, So I had a couple of people I reached out to, and I'm like, well, what's going on? Well, Josh Heupel just called me looking for him. That kind of thing, I mean, not good. And, a couple other factors here is that a couple of his teammates roughed him up. When it was right after the SEC media days, right around that time frame. So that would have been a couple weeks back? Is that what we're talking about? Because he had gone missing before that. He shows up and they catch him in there. He went to his locker to get something and he hadn't been around. And, those guys didn't take too kindly to the fact that, hey, I'm over here working out. You're not. We're having to do all this stuff in the hot of the summer, and you're doing whatever you're doing. So he got roughed up a little bit. And as Kelly said, and the reporting around this is that there are, that council's, there are a couple of those guys that were not in favor of bringing him back. And, I was talking to Watson Brown about this last week, and I've thought about it since he said it. He said, Tony, it's kind of like Kelly said, that sounds great in theory until those guys think they're going to tell you who comes and who goes. He goes, because they're not. He said, it's great to tell these guys, hey, you're empowered. But really what you're doing is you're in a customary role. Now, I told you guys last week, I thought it was a great sign that those kids went to him and said, hey, I know this guy's a star player, but he got to go. I think that's a great sign. I think that's a sign of a healthy football team. What the head coach has done here, and Brent Hubbs asked him a very, very, very pointed follow-up question today, which is, okay, is this guy on the team? And if he's not on the team, then how's he going to get back? And Heupel kind of, blanched at that. And Hubbs was like, well, what are the steps? Like, can you walk us through, like, what this guy has to do to get back in the good graces here? Does he go to the back of the line for workouts? Does he, and the truth is they don't know how to answer that. I mean, George, I'm sorry I'm a little late. I'm coming out of the doctor. I've been having like terrible back issues, but following this thing as it's ebbed and flowed and having the inability to be ambulatory right now has allowed me to stay on the phone more than I want to on this thing. It's one of the weirdest stories in my 30 years that I've seen here. And I'll tell you why. It's not about money. The kid did not disappear because he wants more money. It's not about discipline. The kid did not get disciplined and thrown off the team. It's not that he's a bad kid or he's gotten in trouble elsewhere. That's not what happened. It's not that he was flirting with another school, because he wasn't, even though there were reports out there that, Colorado and Louisville were kind of poking around and calling some of the people that know him when they saw, because that's how this works. I mean, these guys are all sharks. They're going to, if they sense chum in the water, they're going to go in there and go after somebody. So this is not the Nico deal. In fact, they gave this kid a pretty good raise back in the winter. They let him play. They let him play offense in the spring. Along with his defensive responsibilities, along with what's going to happen on special teams. And, at the end of all this, literally this morning, I'm on the air going, look, we all know this guy's going to come back, but there were people internally within that building that didn't know what was going to happen today. I mean, it's really, really, really an odd story.
So,
you know what, George? One follow up for you.
Mm-hmm.
It is a perfect way for the off season that began with Nico Nerfball leaving and going to California, whatever he did. It's a perfect way for that off season to end, like the bridge there, because it's bizarre.
So, in your opinion, when they tee it up, whatever it is, 5 weeks from now, does this show up at all in this team's performance?
I mean, I don't know. Look, I had some callers telling me today, and the thing that's interesting about this is that I accept all viewpoints, okay? If you tell me, hey, look, SEC football is about taking the best football players, putting them on the field, and giving yourself a chance to win, I'll buy that. So you keep him. If somebody tells me, hey, we need playmakers, and that's why we're going to keep him, I take that. If somebody tells me, hey, Tony, this is a kid that's never been in trouble criminally or otherwise around your program, and he deserves a second chance, I will take that. If you tell me, hey, there are guys on your team, and I understand even members of the coaching staff that weren't in favor of bringing the guy back, and you're going to do that, you're taking a chance. Here's the thing. If they would have let him go, because I'm going to tell you something, they were extremely united all summer because they do not want to let this Nico and his family, they don't want those people to win. The guys on that team, the leaders on that team, do not want that, oh, woe is Tennessee. Nico left them, and look at them. They're going to go 6-6 or 7-5. Those guys do not want to go out that way. So they've had a screws down summer in terms of their effort and what they've done. But, who knows? Look, if you would have let him walk, could it have made your team better? Could it have made them more united? I don't know. Look, I'll tell you what, I'm glad that I am not coaching college football in this day and age, because I'm going to tell you what college sports are right now. They're unprofessional sports. Kelly, when he signed his NFL contract, played professional sports. We are in the era of unprofessional sports, where it pays to act unprofessionally. It pays to flirt with somebody while you're on somebody else's roster. It pays to recruit people off other people's roster. And look, really, this has nothing to do with this kid. But back in the day, if a kid like this would have disappeared for a month or whatever, or a couple weeks, whatever it is, whatever the sensation you want to put on it, Kelly, would they put up with that back in your day? I mean, you got to be kidding me.
I'm having trouble hearing you, Tony, but I'm not. What did he say, George?
Try that again. I guess he's out in the wind is what I'm hearing. Go ahead,
Tony. Ask me that again. I know you asked me something.
Well, listen. What I'm saying is, when a guy disappears from a football team in your day, right? Are they? Is he just going to come back on the team? I mean, look, and I totally get why Josh Heupel did what he did, because they need playmakers, and you have got to win games. Look, if you tell a fan, first you let Nico go, okay, and Nico leaving puts you, what's the term here? At risk. Puts you at risk. Now, I think they found a guy that fits their offense. We'll see how it works out. We're not going to know till the first ball snapped. We know damn right well that this kid can really play. This kid that's pulled the stunt and left the team, and we also all know damn right well that he's going to be in the starting lineup when they play their first game. I mean, that's just how that's going to go when they play Syracuse.
That's right.
And so let's keep it real. But college sports are unprofessional sports now. The more unprofessionally you behave, the more you're rewarded for it. It is the damnedest thing ever.
I tend to agree, Tony. I tend to agree with you on that, and I'm just like, here's the deal: when guys had contract negotiations or whatever, everybody knew, hey, he's going to be here at some point. That's a business decision. Everybody wasn't worried about that. But if you started acting like a fool and you started acting up and you started hurting guys, dude, it didn't go over well in the locker room. Now, that was back in the day. I understand that. But I think you touched on it. I think Josh Heupel did a good job with the Nico situation, but they didn't think that Nico could play. That's why they're doing that. This Boo Carter kid can play. He's not going anywhere, and you're absolutely right. And that's what I think is going to start happening more and more, because these kids know that they got these coaches by the you-know-what. And if they can play and they're not getting paid what they think they need to get paid, they're going to cause problems like Boo Carter's causing right now in the locker room, because I need to get paid, and I know that they cannot get rid of me. And you've talked about it. They're kind of depleted in the secondary, and he's one of their better players, and he's got a lot of leverage right now. And that's one thing that my agent taught me a long time ago. If you got leverage, you got to use it to its fullest. And that's what he's doing.
Well, and the crazy thing is, Kelly, this thing's not about money. This thing with him is not about money. He just kind of like disappeared.
Yeah.
I mean, that's sort of what I was alluding to earlier. That's the odd thing about this deal. Like, if it was like a holdout thing, okay, I'd understand that. Okay, cool. That's the era we're in. But That's not what happened here. And there's just no way an SEC head coach is going to take a guy and just throw him back. It just doesn't work that way. The only time you might do that is if you're at Georgia and Alabama or Ohio State and you have like 7 5-stars stacked, in your secondary. But Tennessee's not going to do that. I mean, they're just not going to do that. And so now we're back to this whole council thing and the point behind a council. And I think your point's a good one. If I tell the council, hey, you're here and you're invested in this thing, and yet we get kind of crossways on what you want to see happen. I just, that's why Watson told me, he said, I would never have a council for that reason. Because the minute you got to make those decisions, basically.
Well, it sounds good, Tony. That's the whole thing. Like when I was in the pros and we had that, it sounds good because you like to tell everybody, well, we got a council and we empower the guys to do things. But like that never happens. Like it's talking out of both sides of your mouth. It never happens. And we would go up there and we would meet, and then everything that we discussed would never happen. So then people are like, why aren't we going to this? And then, the respect level for the coach kind of faded really quick because he's like, he's not listening to anything we say. So why are we even doing this? Like guys didn't even want to go. And it all sounds good when you first think about it, when you first start it. But like, if you're not going to listen to guys, you've lost the respect of your kids because they're going to go back and tell the other guys. Like there's 10 or 12 guys, but they're going to go back and tell the rest of the team.
What, if you don't mind me asking, what spot was that for you when you encountered
when
that?
I was with the Browns?
Mm.
And then we had something going. I mean, we had something going, but the next year they decided, and we all know who they is, but they decided to get rid of all the guys that caused problems, not really caused problems, but spoke up, were veteran guys. We got rid of some good guys, and we could have set that thing on a path for, they wouldn't be where they are right now if we would have done things right. But it's just, I don't know. It was just it was a bad situation, and it just has a nasty taste when you don't do what you're trying to get accomplished, and you don't, like, it's going in one ear and out the other of a coach. And that just, it's so fast when the respect level goes like that.
That's really interesting. And George asked a question, because I am not qualified to answer this, which is, could this thing go south on you? You know what I can't figure out is if Drew Carter's on a short leash or a long leash now. And the reason I say that is Josh Heupel, you would think conventional wisdom would say, well, if that kid even so much says boo, he's gone. Pardon the pun. But I'm not sure you can say that because Josh Heupel can't kick this kid off the team now because it'll look like, hey, I took a chance on him and now I'm really wrong. You guys know what I mean? It's almost like once you decide to make that decision, you've made that decision. You're in this thing for the long haul now.
Yep. George, it's a tough situation, and I still don't know. Like, I know that you said it wasn't money, but they're like, what's the deal with this young man? Like, why did he leave? Like, do we know? Like, what's going on?
No idea. No idea.
Crazy.
Because it's not, listen, people were making up rumors of something happened off the field. It's not that. He's a kind of a happy-go-lucky, sort of ebullient, outgoing, kind of trash-talking kid on the field. And those guys, can be a little diva-ish and a little moody and that kind of thing. But it's here's the other thing. When a guy like that kind of leaves a team, right, first thing people do is they make rumors up. This guy did this or he did that. And there was some of that behind the scenes. And the truth is, he just didn't show up. He didn't show up. Now, what'll be interesting is, do they make him, when they're practicing the next few days, when practices begin here, do they make him run and run and run and run and run? Or do they just put him at fifth string and give him fifth string reps? Do they make him get up every day at like 5 a.m. and miss all those workouts that he missed, or make up all those workouts? This thing's going to be really interesting here.
Tony, with the way you talk to fans and people in the program, are you sensing any portion of the fan base not checking out, but looking at these situations with Nico and Boo and starting to think to themselves, man, what are we in for this year?
No, I think if anything, I think Tennessee fans are a lot more intrigued with the season than they were before. Because look, here's the thing about Nico. Nico was kind of a known entity. And I think the guy was kind of a flatliner, didn't make people around him better. And so this guy I call Joey Football, Joey Aguilar, has sort of added a new energy here, like the unknown. Like, hey, could history repeat itself where, and I'm not saying it's going to repeat itself to this extent, but where a guy that Josh Heupel was paired with, because that's what happened with Hendon Hooker. Heupel saw Hendon Hooker in the spring, and they went and recruited Joe Milton off Michigan's roster when Joe Milton lost his starting job there. And then a couple games into that season, Hendon Hooker took that gig and never gave it back. And so I think the fact that all that happened, it galvanized those players. I think it's galvanized the fans too, to like, hey, you know, this thing is bigger than Nico. And some people today were telling me before the story broke, right before Josh Heupel took the podium, some people were saying, hey, and by the way, this Boo Carter guy, he ain't bigger than the deal. He's not bigger than the deal. Now, some people are saying, hey, you can't give back a great playmaker. Again, I've got room for all the viewpoints on the Boo Carter thing, because I think they're all valid. That's the thing that's interesting about this story.
Ooh, this is bizarre. Tony, if somebody in Middle Tennessee is hearing you for the first time and they'd like to listen to you more, how do they do that?
Well, I'm generally not like this, but I'm rammy because I'm on all kinds of medications. So, George, I apologize for that.
Don't worry about it.
tclub.team is how you find me. Again, tclub, TCLUB.team. And George, thanks, man. Sorry I was a little late on you today.
Hey, don't worry about it, Tony. Great as always having you on. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Bye.
Okay, after the break, some of our reactions to what we've heard in Knoxville. This is 94.9, The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
If you are paying too much for your health insurance, you know what? You need to contact the folks at Pancoast Benefits. Pancoast works with businesses and individuals to tackle the high cost of health insurance. Whether you're a business owner, large or small, self-employed, between jobs, or over the age of 65 and in need of a Medicare plan, Pancoast can help. They make understanding your benefits less difficult and more personal. So check them out today, pancoastbenefits.com, or call them at 615-292-3400. Attention, Big Orange Country. Tennessee and Illinois will square off Saturday, December the 6th at Bridgestone Arena. This is the rematch of a great college basketball game last season in Champaign that went right to the wire. And this one figures to be more of the same. Tickets are on sale now. You can grab your seats by going to Ticketmaster.com. That's Ticketmaster.com. Tennessee, Illinois. It's big time.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2025 season. Create a summer of memories at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, and more. Tickets are on sale now.
I trained my entire life to be the best. I was one of the fastest women in the entire country. But woke politics made me swim against a man, sharing the pool and the locker room. That's not just dangerous, it's degrading. Thank God for Marsha Blackburn. No one fights harder to protect us. Marsha Blackburn will always stand for strong women because she's one of us.
I'm Marsha Blackburn, and I approve this message.
Okay, so a lot to sort out off the interview with Tony Basilio. Kelly, does it feel to you like Josh Heupel is at a little bit of a locker room crossroads that he's going to have to take control? And I mean, really take control?
Man, it certainly sounds like that to me, George. There's too much indecisiveness, and that's the worst thing you can have as a coach. That's what you know. You're over at MTSU today, but that's what I always loved about my head coach at Middle, Coach Donnelly. He was never scared of making decisions, and he was always, you always knew where you stood with him. And I'm not sure about these days in college sports. Even Tony talked about it. Like, there's too much indecisiveness. And here's the deal. This is why the kid's still on the team, because if he couldn't play, Josh Heupel wouldn't put up with this, or any coach in the country wouldn't put up with this. But the guy can play. That's why he's still on the team, because he has to have him. And if you've got young men on the team in your leadership council that's saying he's a problem, we don't want him, which I don't know if that's happening. I really don't. But, just listening to Tony, it sounds like some guys didn't want him back on the team. So there's some dissension in that with him just saying that. So it's like there's so many stories around the country right now of this stuff happening, George, and these young men know that they've got these coaches. They've got them right now. And if I'm not getting respected, if I'm not getting paid like I think, all they got to do is walk away. And I think Tony had a pretty good phrase, the unprofessional league, because that's kind of what it's becoming. It's becoming unprofessional. Some of these guys don't understand that, and they're just walking away. It's about the team, and in our society, George, I don't think we're leaning that way. It's all about me. It's all about me getting paid and going on to the next level.
Billy, what it really feels like is the coaches that are out there that somehow have kept the ship afloat and kept their players somewhat happy, but also have some level of discipline. Man, they are threading a needle that makes them pretty damn special.
Yeah, culture is more important now than ever. And I think about Dabo Swinney. There's a lot of coaches around the country that that have great cultures. Not to say Tennessee doesn't have a great culture, but we're going to learn. We're going to learn about Tennessee's culture this season. People talk about culture all the time. Well, Syracuse is not a pushover, and
no, but they also don't have Kyle McCord, who elevated them.
They don't
way past,
but they're not
what
playing,
they were.
They're not playing Charleston Southern week 1. And look, Tennessee plays Georgia week 3, and so they better be ready out of the gate and have everything sorted out, because it's going to get real quick, and we've seen it get real quick in Knoxville with that fan base, and I'm Tony talked about it too. Just what's going to happen? He doesn't know. How's this team going to respond?
Nobody knows.
This team. I'm thinking about this Tennessee team now at this point before the season as a team that could go 6-6, or a team that all goes well. Maybe they rally around Aguilar and their team and they end up making the playoff. I don't know.
I'm not sure, Kelly, that a psychiatrist could figure this out.
I'm with you, man. But I don't think it's just Tennessee. I think it's a lot of teams in the country that's having these issues. I really do.
But the problem is here you've had 2 really high-profile ones. You've had Nico, who told the Pac-12 media last week it wasn't about money. It was about being close to family, which to me feels like a lie. I don't believe
So
that.
Why wasn't
for a
that?
minute?
Why is he saying that just now?
Yeah, well,
I think there's a reason he's just now saying
some
that.
SID gave him a talking point.
Right.
So
Go
now
with
it's close to family, huh?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Nice.
And now you've got this Boo Carter thing. And so you've had two really high profile ones that have gotten regional, some national coverage. Obviously, in Nico's case, a lot of national. I'll say this. I think between now and when they kick off in whatever it is, 5 weeks, something better change for them for the better.
It just feels like how much is too much, and again, they could rally around this council and bounce back, but that's going to be tough to do.
The President's Council on Physical Fitness. After the break, we'll go stat the day, which could be a disaster. Then MTSU Athletic Director Chris Massaro will join us. Round one of a couple of celebrations involving the new $66 million athletic facility, which is behind me. I know it's hard to see with some of the sunlight, but trust me, it's beautiful. Round one of the ceremonies is tonight. Later in the show, Steve Smith, who was a big mover and shaker behind this project, he will join us as well. This is 94.9 The Fan.
Tonight, your Nashville Sounds are back on the road to start a 6-game series in Scranton Wilkes-Barre. Pre-game at 5:20.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan and the Game Nashville app. This fall, country music superstar Tim McGraw is hitting the stage live at the Pinnacle at Nashville Yards for Dream Ticks, Rock the Cradle, and it's all for a great cause. It's going to be an unforgettable night of music, fun, and giving back with proceeds supporting newborns and moms at Ascension St. Thomas Midtown.
And I like it, I love it, I want some more of it.
Don't miss it. Grab your tickets now at rockthecradlenashville.org. Your sports live here on the Game Nashville Sports Network.
I like it, I love it, I want some more of it.
Laundry piling up? Make it easier with the latest washers and dryers from Electronic Express. We carry top brands like LG, Samsung, Speed Queen, Whirlpool, and GE. So whether you need an all-in-one unit, stacked unit, front load, or top load, we've got that. With free delivery, the guaranteed lowest prices, and up to 24 months free financing, upgrading your laundry room has never been easier. Find your perfect setup in-store or online, only at Electronic Express. We've got that.
This summer, the Legends of the West invite you to the Buffaloville Center of the West in Cody, Wyoming. 5 museums come alive with timeless Western art, heroic tales, and native cultures. Experience live birds of prey, crackling chuck wagon dinners, and behind-the-scenes adventures. Just 50 miles from Yellowstone's East Gate, our doors open wide to explorers young and old. 1 ticket grants you 2 days, enough time to let curiosity lead the way. Visit centerofthewest.org.
Best Friends Animal Society is working to ensure that every dog and cat in the country has a safe place to call home. Home. Just like Superman, you can use your power for good. Join us. Visit bestfriends.org to adopt an out-of-this-world pet near you. Together, we will save them all.
Don't let shoulder or elbow injuries put a dent in your golf game or keep you off the course. The sports medicine experts at Houston Clinic Orthopedics can help you return to playing your best game pain-free. They offer treatment options from physical therapy to injections and, if needed, surgery. Houston Clinic Orthopedics has 8 convenient locations around Middle Tennessee. To experience world-class orthopedic care and to book your appointment, visit tn.houston.com.
Ponce Law is the only injury law firm with the Crash Cam Network, capturing accident footage on highways across Middle Tennessee. Injured in an accident? Call Ponce Law. We offer a no-fee guarantee, and for over 30 years, we've been helping injured people just like you. We've been voted best law firm multiple times. I'm Michael Ponce. If you've been injured, call us today at 615-244-4321. Ponce Law, justice for all.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. All around the world on the Game Nashville app. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9. The Fan.
It's the George Plaster Show.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
All right, we're checking in with Chris Massaro, MTSU Athletic Director, coming up next. But first, stat of the day brought to you by Apple Collision Centers. You can find them in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. Give them a call, 615-754-9800, or log on to their website. That's applecollisioncenters.com. All right, we're going baseball today, as we've been going here most of the summer. Cubs great Ryne Sandberg passed away yesterday. In 1984, Sandberg won the MVP. Can you name the runner-up that year?
Kelly, it could be either Will Clark or Leon Durham. Those are the two names I'm thinking. It's one of the two. Billy, show me a winner.
Keith Hernandez.
Keith Hernandez. Oh, wow. Okay, there you go.
How did I not get that? Keith Hernandez had been traded by then to the Mets, and Whitey got rid of him because of alleged drug use and all that kind of stuff, which Keith Hernandez has owned up to. If you want to hear...
He does TV for the Mets, right?
Yes, and in my opinion, that threesome,
he's
Gary
great.
Cohen, Ron Darling, Keith Hernandez, I watch all of them. I've got the MLB Extra Innings package. They are the most enjoyable listen to of all of them.
Yeah,
that threesome is really good.
Crack a few jokes, too.
Absolutely. So you want to crack a good joke here?
Let's do it.
Okay. MTSU Athletic Director Chris Massaro is with us on site. When was the last time you saw me in a suit?
Well, I was just thinking, George, that this is my 20th year, so I've done 20 years of interviews with you. Right. And I think this is the first time when I'm looking at the TV screen that both of us are in a coat and tie. So we are breaking some ground. And I think I've been in the coat and tie more than you, but as we've been doing this, but that's the first time for both of us, I think. So today's a real special day for a lot of different reasons.
Yeah. So right behind us, and I realize people that may be watching by way of podcast, it's hard to see with the glare, but this facility, this is big time, and this is really special for y'all.
It is, and it signals a whole new era for us that we can't back up to anybody, and it's a primarily football building, but this building's going to house and be good for all of our student athletes. So we've got a brand new weight room that's everybody's going to be able to use, a nutrition center that everybody's going to be able to use, a training room that all of our student athletes are going to be able to use. So state of the art equipment everywhere. And so that's going to touch every sport, but really football is the primary. And they've got a new locker room. They've got meeting rooms upstairs. The first time we've ever had a full team room where they can meet as a full team. So since 1911, we've been playing football. We haven't had a team room.
Oh, wow.
In that amount of time. And we're getting beat up recruiting because of it, that, people were saying like, hey, they don't take football seriously, that their locker room's in the basketball arena, and things like that. So now we've corrected all that. So we've got one of the best facilities built, and it's brand new, and it's got everything. I think it's the best in the group of five, and it can compare with Power 5 type facilities as well.
Oh, it looks like it can. I can't wait to see it later tonight. How did this process start?
Well, it all started, we started with a master plan. We hired an architect out of Atlanta to kind of do a conceptual. And at the time, the debate was with Coach Stock was what should be first, like an indoor practice facility or this kind of building that would house football operations. And he really felt like this would touch the day-to-day operations. So we kind of swung like we want to build this building. And so there's a lot of things that came together, like Governor Haslam formed his own board of trustees, chaired by Steve Smith. Steve's very interested in athletics. could see the vision moving forward, what helped us to raise some student fees to help pay for this. So that kind of got us started. And then we were able to raise money, and we raised about $23 million in private donations to supplement all that. And so then we were off and running, and we got delayed a little bit with COVID, in our fundraising and those kind of things. But all that might have been better, because I think that as we waited, we were able to make more improvements to the building and its design. So I think we're at an optimum point right now.
We're going to talk to Steve Smith later in the hour. That is a who's who of Nashville, Middle Tennessee family. And if I was going to pick one word about them, and obviously I know Reese better than I know Steve, but the word is class.
Yeah, I would. That's a very good word. As you were trying, I was trying to anticipate what word you might say. I was going to say also passionate. And
yeah,
they're very passionate about what they do. And I think that they're passionate about being first class and everything that happens around them. And so I'm so happy, because the building will have Steve and Denise's name on it, and it is a first class facility. So it's a facility that I'm very proud to put their name on it. They've been dear friends of mine for 20 years. George, you may not know this, but Steve was chair of the search committee that named me AD.
Oh, really?
So
Okay.
I've known him since the interview, and then he helped onboard me on as an AD, because he wanted me to be successful. And then our friendship grew out of all of that. So he's been so supportive, been so impactful in my life. And then being able to be around Reese and the whole family, they're an unbelievable family, and I just enjoy every minute I spend with them.
So we can now tell the story.
Uh-oh.
Your great sports information director, Mark Owens, calls me.
Yeah.
I want to say 2-3 weeks ago, and says, "Will you do this? The Smith family would like you to be here." And I immediately clipped into, "I'm on vacation, can't do it." And that night, it really nagged at me. I was like, "That's not the right answer. These people have been way too good to me over the years." And so I finagled a few things, called Reese the next morning, not knowing that Steve was in his office. And I said, "Listen, this is what I've told Middle. The answer is no. The answer I'm giving you all is yes, I'll be there." And it's really cool.
So that's what typical George, he stiff arms us that goes around the corner.
That's not that's not
yeah,
true.
okay, all right.
So Billy, this is a pretty good story. Years ago, I went on a rant one day on the air, and I said the quote, "You show me an athletic director whose lips are moving, and I'll show you a liar." Okay. And during the commercial break, this guy calls the hotline, and so they put him on with me. He goes, "Are you including me?"
Yeah, my lips are moving.
I said, "No, I'm not." I said, "Tell you what," I said, "when we come back, I'll apologize." And the truth of it is, I guess the first time I knew about you was through Eddie Fogler.
Yeah, Eddie helped introduce us. He's a friend of mine from South Carolina. I was previously a senior associate AD there, and so Eddie and Robin and the family, I mean, we got to be pretty tight. And so when I got this job, he helped lay the groundwork for Nashville.
Yeah.
And here's who you need to contact. And George is one of the names, and George has been
19th on the list.
He's been great ever since. I mean, we've had a friendship almost from day one here.
We sure have.
And now that I think about the statement where you said the lips are moving, with all this conference realignment and stuff, I don't think you're far from wrong. I was almost insulted, but now, trying to take up for my brethren. But now it's really kind of sad where we've evolved to. But it's been a good relationship, and I've enjoyed these kind of relationships. People ask me why I've stayed so long at Middle Tennessee. It's my 20th year, and it's because of people like George Plaster and Reese Smith and Steve Smith and Dr. McPhee and Rick Insel, and people that have been kind of in your corner the whole time. And that makes the job a lot of fun to do. It makes it a lot easier to do because these are hard jobs. But you know what? We're just trying to make this place great.
What's the future of all this? I mean, I look around and I'm like, how could an AD have any fun? Because it's just constant worry. Where are you getting the money?
Yeah.
Who are you paying? What are you paying?
You know, it's pretty weird. Like, you know, if you break down your career and those kind of things. But I think, like a lot of us, the demarcation line is almost like COVID. You know, that 2020 year, and really since 2020, we've been adjusting on the fly big time in college athletics, whether it was COVID and now it's the House settlement and NIL and the first 35 years of my career we're trying to you know, not pay the athletes and try to keep boosters away. And now it's totally opposite, where we're asking them for money to pay our athletes. And so we've done a complete 180, you know, in terms of philosophy. I think we've made a lot of mistakes as an industry along the way. And I remember when the O'Bannon case was, and that was the likeness of the video, you know, from Ed O'Bannon. And it was pretty obvious to anybody with a brain that was them. They just didn't have the name on the jersey.
Right.
And it's not really going to hurt us if we give them some of the royalties off the video game. And I stood up in an AD meeting and said that and almost got laughed out of the room, you know, because that was so contrary to what we were supposed to be in the NCAA. And if we would have just been reasonable with our approach 15 years ago, I don't think we might be at the same place, but it wouldn't have been a big collision to get there. And so I think it's all going to settle out. You know, this is too good of an enterprise. College athletics is still too great, whether it's Division III, NAIA, FBS, FCS, Power, whatever labels we put on it. It's still a great enterprise. And so no matter what we do as leaders, I don't think we can kill it. We've tried, but I don't think we can. And I think it's going to be okay. It might take us a couple of years, George, but it's going to be all right. It's going to be all right.
Chris, good to have you over here. You mentioned video game, and you know it's funny how much impact the college football 26 video game has had. I saw a clip. I think the football Twitter posted it, and in the end zone you saw this new brand new facility. That was kind of the first look at it. I think Vanderbilt had the same thing happen to them. For me, I was like, man, that's nice.
Yeah.
Like, how excited are you and obviously the fan base, everybody here to see what this thing looks like, not only for the students in it, but for people going to the games, the football effect.
The visual of that's really important to us. And, you know, and I like it because it's opposite. It's the opposite end zone of the visitors' locker room. So I want those suckers to be running out of the locker room, and that's what they see, and to say like, oh, you know, like, oh, these guys are serious. They're serious about their football. You know, and I just want the visitors to know that. I want our fans to know that. I want our student athletes to know that. So, you know, with them, and I'm going to talk to the football team on Sunday at the start of their training camp, but to much is given and much is expected. Like, we didn't build this thing to lose football games, you know, and those kind of things. So we're expecting supreme effort. You know, that weight room that we built, the Kevin Byard Conditioning Center, we expect some results, you know, and the rehab and recovery rooms that we put in there, we expect results. And so the coaches know that, the players know that, and our fan base will soon know that as well.
That's really cool the way you've said that. Be interesting to see what their reaction is Sunday when you throw that out there.
Yeah, you know, that might be the tomatoes, you know, but I don't think so. I've said the same thing to the coaching staff, and they understand. They've been around it. You know, too much is given, much is expected. And I think that's, we did it to help win championships, and we did it to help develop them to their optimum selves. And so they've got every tool that they need. And so we're supplying all the support we can. And so whatever their dreams are, if it's NFL, if it's the transfer to Power 4, at this point, I don't care. We want to develop them while we're here. And then the next batch will develop just as hard.
Can I go to a break and then let's talk a little bit about where it's all headed?
Yeah. No problem.
MTSU Athletic Director Chris Massaro with us from our site at MTSU's Hall of Fame building. Now, tell me what that's called besides Steve and Denise Smith's.
Yeah, it's the Stephen and Denise Smith Student Athlete Performance Center.
That's a mouthful.
It is. So we're going to really probably call it the Smith Athletic Performance Center when we shorten it up. But, and then we thought, well, maybe the Smith Center, but that's a little bit like the North Carolina.
It's got a little too much Carolina.
A little bit North Carolina.
Yeah.
It's from the South Carolina guy. That's North Carolina, George.
Excuse me. Sorry. Okay. We'll straighten all this out during the commercial. We'll come back and talk about group of 5 versus power. Is it 4, 3.5? Who knows
2.
what it is? 2. This is 94.9, The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Attention, Big Orange Country. Tennessee and Illinois will square off Saturday, December the 6th at Bridgestone Arena. This is the rematch of a great college basketball game last season in Champaign that went right to the wire. And this one figures to be more of the same. Tickets are on sale now. You can grab your seats by going to Ticketmaster.com. That's Ticketmaster.com. Tennessee, Illinois. It's big time. It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
Are you ready to begin? Trevecca Nazarene University. From calling to becoming.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com. Time at Murfreesboro as we welcome all of you back. In just a little while, round one of 2 different ceremonies will take place involving this beautiful $66 million athletic complex that is going to be christened behind us. MTSU Athletic Director Chris Massaro is with us here at our broadcast site. So maybe I'm naive, but I want to believe that if he were alive, that C.M. Newton would be one of the people saying, wait a minute, we're screwing over the group of 5, we're leaving them for roadkill, and it's not right. How disappointed are you that nobody in the Power 5 level ever says that?
Yeah, and I mean, that's a little bit of a tricky question because
it was meant to be.
Yeah. Thanks, George.
You're welcome.
No
problem.
The one thing that we have, and I think it's important for us to hold on, is that for the first time in the history of college football, our schools have a chance to win a national championship. We have a chance to make the playoffs. Back when it was a poll, in a popular vote, probably really couldn't get there. Back when it was a 2-team BCS computer thing, probably couldn't get there. Back when it was a 4-team playoff, and there was those good Boise teams, those good Cincinnati teams that couldn't quite get there. So now we have access. So they have given us that. And I think that's the most important thing, because it can be like nobody thought we'd beat Michigan State in men's basketball as a 15 seed, and they were a 2. And every now and then Goliath goes down with David's Rock, and so we just want those opportunities. So we do have that. I don't like the fact that there's not enough collegiality at the top, and I think that we need to have that more. I think commissioners are being hired from television and private industries, and maybe not lifers like the Bob Bowlesbys and the Mike Slives and the Delaney's and those kind of things. So I think they look at it with different perspectives than maybe I do as a lifer in this thing. I remember when I was hired, I'm talking to Lee Fowler, and he's like, you know what, AD's got to look out after ADs. There's only 100, at the time, there's only 120 of us in FBS. So we're a little bit like the U.S. Senate where there's 100, and you just don't want to leave somebody out and leave them out in the cold. Well, that is all changed. I mean, with all the conference affiliations and kind of like my institution or my conference first, and there hasn't been a guardian of the game. And I think that's our ultimate responsibility, is to make sure we don't kill the game. And so far we've wounded it a little bit, but I don't think we've killed it. And I think some of this we can correct ourselves, and I think there'll be some market corrections as well. Yep. And I don't mind, George, if the top 40 schools break off and do their NFL thing, as long as we have access to that playoff.
You used a really interesting term, guardian of the game. And that's what I believe Coach Newton would have been if he were alive, if I could think of one person. But I'm disappointed that nobody else is, because if we throw you all down the pike as roadkill, we lose some of those great moments in athletics that you're talking about. Middle over Michigan State. Middle beat Kentucky at Vandy in an NCAA tournament years ago. Those are moments that are in this room right here.
On a football level, what's the most famous Fiesta Bowl? Name one of them.
Yeah, Boise, Oklahoma.
I mean, it just rolls right off the lips. I mean, that's what makes college athletics, is when those sort of events happen. That's what's made the NCAA basketball tournament. That's why it's March Madness. And it doesn't happen all the time, but just that lightning bolt. And that's what we need to sustain and make sure we have it. And we do have a chance now in this. I think that if we can get the commissioners kind of on the same page, and whether it's a 16 or 12 or any of those kind of things, I just think there's got to be agreement at the top of the direction. I think that the Big Ten and the SEC, that they know they've got the power, but they've got to be good stewards of the power. And I trust Greg Sanker. I really don't know the Big Ten commissioner, but I've known Greg a long time. And I do think that he cares about all of college football.
So
he cares more about the SEC first, but he does care about all of college football.
So as part of the playoff committee, first of all, how did you end up on there? Who
I think a lot of people are probably asking that question. I've always wanted to be on it, number one, so I've had that desire. I've done a lot of subcommittees. Like when the CFP first got formed, I was on the AD advisory committee. There was one AD from every conference. And so I was on that. We discussed, like, should there be beer sales? When should beer sales be done?
Honorable mention, others receiving votes.
Yeah. How big is the visitors allotment? How many days should people be there? And just all the stuff to form up. And we advised the commissioners who made the ultimate decisions. So I was kind of always involved and always made known that I wanted to be part of it. And then I think that there was an opening for a group of 5 AD. I think I've got enough respect amongst the commissioners. I've known Jim Phillips for a long time, back when he was at Tennessee and those kind of things. The ACC commissioner that obviously the Conference USA commissioner, the MAC commissioner I've known for a long time, Greg Sankey I've known for a long time. So I think when my name got floated, I don't think I had any veto balls on me, that at least that I know of. And so I'm hoping that they said there's a reasonable person to put on the committee, and I think they'll know I'll do my homework. I'll make sure that I'm well prepared and those kind of things, because that's the biggest thing. And what they said in our first meeting in Chicago is our charge is just to get it right. You can't wear your logos inside the meeting room. That you got to put some of those affiliations aside. But our biggest thing is we are stewards of the game, and we have to get it right. And there is a lot of noise, people, and the committee's not going to be unanimous on every decision that's made. And that sometimes gets lost in the translation. Like, they probably have the same discussions inside that room that TV's having outside that room, and so I think it's going to be a fascinating process. And I was really impressed in my first meeting about how diligent everybody is to try to get the thing right.
Interesting. So you all have to have an answer by December 1st. Is that correct? For ESPN purposes?
Yeah, that Sunday is this, I don't know what the exact date is, but the day of all the championship games, that next Sunday is the selection Sunday, so to speak. And so you're on a timetable, you're on the clock. Right in the beginning of November, you go once a week to Dallas, and then you rank the top 25. And sometimes that gets lost, that people just think that all you're doing is selecting the 12 in the field, but you're really selecting the top 25, and that's how the other bowl game matchups get placed too. So there's a big responsibility, and it means a lot to schools where they're ranked. That 23 is good, but 19's better, but it's better than being 26 or 27 when you're out. So I think there's a lot of time talking about where there's not many margins at the end of the top 25, of making sure you get that right as well.
How has the playoff changed the way people perceive college football and watch college football, not only for the rest of the country, but also MTSU, because you brought up access to the playoff and how important that is?
Yeah, I think it's helped it. I think the national playoff has helped it. I was watching, I guess it was the old 30 for 30 on the Miami Hurricanes the other night, and they were talking about the year that they didn't get in, and somebody got voted in over the top of them. They didn't think that was right. No, I'm sorry, it was Auburn. It was an SEC.
Yeah,
it was an SEC thing, and it was Auburn, and they didn't get in, and so they weren't voted national champion. And so now you take some of the regionalization out of it, where the votes are coming from and those kind of things, and at least in the last 20 years or however long the BCS has been in existence, that there's actually been a playoff at the end. That, whether those are the two best teams, you could debate, but there has been decided on the field rather than the voting box. It used to be frustrating growing up, like, well, did Notre Dame really deserve that, or did Alabama deserve that? And they never played, or those kind of things. The top two teams wouldn't play, so you'd never know. So I think it's really helped college athletics, and I think it's brought these regions together a little bit. So now the West pays attention to the SEC pays attention to the Big Ten and what's going on, and so I think it's helped create interest.
That word deserving, like that seems, being on the committee, that's the, you talked about doing the right thing. What is that right thing, and who is deserving? Because a lot of people, Alabama deserved to be in last year, and maybe even a team like South Carolina, who was hot down the stretch, as opposed to an Indiana getting in. What is deserving in terms of the playoff?
Yeah, and I think everybody probably has their own interpretation. I mean, we could go around the room and interview 15 people, and what is deserving? Is it the team that's undefeated? They lined up and played everybody. Is it the team that you think is the best, that's maybe played against a tough schedule and those kind of things? And so I think one of the arguments right now, and the commissioners are really trying to set some metrics for the committee, some further metrics to kind of answer that question. What is deserving? And is it the team that's played a brutal schedule and and maybe be hot at the end, but maybe they had a bad September. What if the quarterback was hurt in September? And those kind of things. So that's all stuff that gets discussed in the committee room, and I'm looking forward to participating in those kind of discussions because everybody's got a little different slant on that. Are the games in November more important than the games in September? There's a little bit of a recency bias, I think, that floats through, whether it's the basketball committee or the football committee or the tennis committee, whatever it might be. I think that, your most recent results sometimes are more memorable. And is that fair or not? And how, as a committee, do you try to prevent that from happening?
So you'll love this question. What did you think the first time you saw the story where Group of 5 member Memphis appeared to offer the Big 12 something in the neighborhood of a $200 million sponsorship package? I mean, that's got to be concerning.
Yeah, it's. I think that tells you how valuable it is to be in the autonomy for. And in a lot of ways, they may have set the marketplace. I think
Right.
the days are done that well, you just suck up a Central Florida and those kind of things and make them a Big 12 school. I think that now that there's market value, I think that everybody needs to be a little bit careful, because if there is a consolidation at the top, and I think that we'll be relatively quiet the next couple of years, George, but right around 2030 is when a lot of these TV rights start opening up again. And that's when people are saying that there's going to be a lot of movement. And from Middle Tennessee's perspective, that's why we want to get this building built. That's why we want to start phase 2 with the Murphy Center improvements. We've got $78 million to keep teed up for it as well, because we want to be a player in the next 5 years. If there is a cut of 40 or 50 at the top, then there's going to be a second cut. And that's where we want to be in. I don't know if we can get to that top 40, but you know what? We can get into the top, the next 40, the next 30. And I think that's going to be a really good place to be, because we can make that more academic oriented as well. And so some of the lower level ACC schools, you've already seen Oregon State and Washington State get kicked to the curb a little bit. And so what will happen to schools like that in the future if there's a consolidation at the top? So I think we need to be ready to kind of be in that second cut.
So, okay, I've never heard it quite said like second cut, the next tier. In your, how you're envisioning, what does that mean? What good things happen if you're second tier?
Well, I think that it depends on what schools are in there, and I don't necessarily want to start naming existing Power
teach
4.
you to agree to come on with me.
Yeah, but let's just say there's a school that's been in the ACC that might not make that cut. That'd be a great one for us to be associated with. I mean, the name recognition. I think that you can say, hey, we're not the NFL, and that's what the top 40 will emulate, is the NFL, that we still have a collegiate structure amongst us. And I think there's an audience for that, George. I might be old-fashioned and those kind of things, but I think there's going to be an audience for those kind of schools. And I think for Middle Tennessee, that's a really good company to keep, that we care about where our kids graduate. It's important for us for them to receive diplomas. It's important for us to keep a structure that we've always had in place. We can modify it and make sure players can make a living and those kind of things. But it doesn't necessarily, we don't need to have $5 million quarterback and $1 million point guard and those kind of things. So I think it'd be a nice space for us to be in.
Billy, can you put that picture back up there for a second for those who are watching by way of podcast? Has that been almost a sales point for you, when you've gone to people that, look, if we do this, our chances of getting into that second deal increase dramatically?
Yeah, I think it's more like I've not made that sale on this because that's, I think more the sale has been, let's make a statement and let's position ourselves, whatever happens. Because I've been surprised before, so predictions like that can change in a minute. But I think the sale, George, is the more realistic sale is that we need to position ourselves so when there's the next great movement, we're as positioned as well as we can. And this facility and the Murphy Center renovation are going to position us to be in that space. And however it morphs, because we can sit here and speculate all we want, but we've been surprised before. Who would have thought, if you'd have tried to predict that Stanford would be in the Atlantic Coast Conference, you'd have been laughed out of the room 5 years ago.
Yeah. Geography.
So you can't
out the window.
So the prediction of the specific predictions is kind of a silly exercise, but the positioning is not. And so that's what we're trying to do, is position ourselves the best way possible.
What year did you hire Rick Insell?
2005. He was like my first hire.
Okay, the story.
I got hired in April, and we hired him 2-3 weeks later.
The story can now be told. Really, for the first...
we better be careful when we start telling Rick Insell stories.
Well, we're going to tell this one. The story can be told that during a certain radio lawsuit, I happened to go to a game at Shelbyville. Nick Hunter's Hillsboro team, his son's team, was playing Shelbyville. And I didn't really know Rick all that well. And Rick saw me and hauled me off into his office for one of the most amazing pep talks that a human being has ever gotten. I've never forgotten that pep talk. A summer later, he calls me, and I remember exactly where I was. I was in my parents' front yard, and for the next hour, I'm pacing back and forth, walking over here and walking back over here. And the whole conversation is, he's made the decision that he wants your women's basketball job. And he wants my opinion on it. And, you know, he's telling me, I think they've got an AD who will be open-minded about it. And if that happens, here are the things that I intend to do. And he got me fired up. I mean, I don't guess I've ever told you about this phone call.
No, that's the first I've heard of it. So
it was amazing.
Yeah. He's amazing.
That hire looks pretty good.
Yeah. It's been downhill ever since. First one.
How close did you come
one
to not doing it?
You know, it's kind of a funny story. Like, I get hired, and then people are putting a bug in my ear almost immediately. Well, there's this high school coach just down the road, and tremendous high school coach. I'm like thinking, I'm from the SEC. I'm going to hire a woman assistant coach from the SEC. And safe hire. I've got connections like Debbie Antonelli. Her husband was my roommate at South Carolina for a while, so I knew Debbie when she was dating Frank. You know, and so there's my connection. I'm plugged into women's basketball. I can make a great hire. And so I call Rick Insell. And again, I know exactly where I was, and I know where he was. He was at the Boo Williams Classic, and it was kind of a courtesy call. And we talked for well over an hour, and I was like, holy smoke, this guy is unbelievable. He's a different cat. And so then I couldn't wait to meet him, and I'm backgrounding him, calling people like Kelly Harper and people like that, and just backgrounding him. And then when we met him, it was pretty obvious that he was the guy. And so Dr. McPhee and I met him in Dr. McPhee's office, and Rick was so prepared, and he comes and he answers every question before you have a chance to ask it. And so I called my wife, who's still in Columbia. She's still packing us up and trying to move. And I'm over here trying to hire a coach. And I call her up and said, hey, I think we just interviewed our women's basketball coach today. I think we're going to hire this person. And she's like, well, tell me about her. And I said, well, he's a high school coach here about 30 miles away. And there's this like silence on the phone. And she says, do you want me to quit packing the boxes? Because you're going to be coming right back here to Columbia.
That's beautiful.
And I said, wait till you meet him. You'll understand. And he's been unbelievable. I've been around Steve Spurrier. I've been around Eddie Fogler. I've been around Lou Holtz. I've been around some great famous coaches, Ray Tanner, Curtis Fry, a great track coach. And I'll put Rick Insel in amongst them all. And he's one of the best coaches I've ever been around. He could coach anything, anywhere. He could coach football. He could coach women's basketball. He just knows how to coach and communicate.
And he can pep talk.
He's unbelievable. Woo. He's unbelievable. And he's unique. He stays to his own tune constantly. So you always know what it's going to be. And that consistency, that's one of the things with great coaches is you know exactly who they are and what they are, and they stay true to that all the time.
You should have heard that phone call.
Yeah.
Man, he laid it out to me. He had all the answers to the questions. Yeah. He wanted to know what I thought. And by the end of the phone call, I was like, they got to hire him.
Yeah.
Billy,
he's getting
you'd
close.
Never heard that one, had you?
I don't think I'd heard that one. I've heard a few other Rick Insel stories, but he's getting close to 500 college wins and the longest tenured coach in Middle Tennessee history.
Yeah, and that 500 is a big number. I mean, when you combine that with his high school, and I mean,
it's like Ichiro in baseball.
Yeah, it is.
A certain amount of it's in Japan, the rest of it's in the United States. Either way, it's Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and he's in 9 of them now. And so he just got in Conference USA's Hall of Fame. So, all of them are so deserved. I mean, he is one of the patrons of women's basketball. I mean, just what he did at the high school level and Pat Summitt was doing at the college level, just to grow it in this state. And then what he's continued to carry the flame at the collegiate level. And I just think I'm the luckiest AD in the world because I've learned so much from him and just being around him every day. That stuff rubs off on you. He's a winner. And I'd be willing to bet, George, I did hear that phone call because I probably had the same stuff.
Same stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm going to admit to him tonight that I have now shared with you about that phone call. Thank you for coming over here.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
This is going to be a special evening, and I can't wait to watch it.
It means a lot that you guys are here, and thank you. And I appreciate you and what you did with your vacation. And no, it means a lot to us,
the
George.
second answer was better than the first one.
Yeah.
We'll leave it at that.
It was.
Chris
care.
Massaro is MTSU's athletic director. After the break, we will meet up with Steve Smith, who has been absolutely instrumental in helping to see to it that building happened. He will join us after the break on 94.9 The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
This is my buddy Stan Harrison from Apple Collision Centers. Recently, you've been talking to me about companies that have a fleet of trucks and they're always in need of repairs.
That's right, George. We understand that nobody likes to deal with the auto body repair process. We try to simplify that at our 3 convenient locations. We work with all major insurance companies. We help to ease the stress of the auto body repair process. We're located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. If you need our services, please stop by and see us.
And how convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler. Attention, Big Orange Country. Tennessee and Illinois will square off Saturday, December the 6th at Bridgestone Arena. This is the rematch of a great college basketball game last season in Champaign that went right to the wire. And this one figures to be more of the same. Tickets are on sale now. You can grab your seats by going to Ticketmaster.com. That's Ticketmaster.com. Tennessee, Illinois. It's big time. Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
It's the George Plaster Show.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Okay, we are Battleground Academy alum Steve Smith joins us here at our broadcast
So we
site.
got any dirt on George, Steve, before we start?
He doesn't look it, but he's a little bit younger than I am. So he didn't get there till after I was gone. So no, I don't know any
So
dirt
not
on
much.
it.
Okay.
I can make some up, but I don't know any.
So the truth of it is, I know your brother, Reese, closer than I do you. There have been a lot of trips to Jackson, Tennessee when he owned that minor league baseball team. And it always amazed me. We'd get there, we'd have a 2-hour ride, we'd solve all the world's problems going down there. And then the respect level that they showed your brother, the people that worked for that Jackson, Tennessee franchise, you talk about somebody that clearly treated his employees well, and man, did they appreciate it.
Well, he's a great man, and we've been partners for 50 plus years and never had a cross word. Now, we're brothers and we argue all the time, but we've never had a cross word. So that's unusual because it's never entered his mind or mine that he might do something that would favor him or me the same. So we've had a fabulous relationship, and he's a good man.
I met your father. I can't say I really knew him, but everybody who did said that was one great man. Talk to me about what he was like, because clearly you all had followed in his path.
Well, he was a self-made man. His father was a fireman, and he was a fireman. He sold Butterfingers and Babe Ruth 10 years. Oddly enough, he copied their retirement plan for our little company because he stayed 10 years instead of 8 so he could get his pension. But he was a big-time risk taker and a working fool. Similar to Larry Smith, though, in terms of a working fool. You know what I mean? That's another in common. Larry was the first one in the park and made the night deposit at 1 or 2 in the morning.
Right.
And so we all have faults, but being a worker
erases a lot of them.
Yes, and my dad was a worker, and shoes will always shine. I mean, he looked good and was a hard worker and took a lot of risk, and was at Nashville, Tennessee, the right place, the right time too.
Someone asked by way of the podcast, were you a Greer or a Plato?
I was a Greer.
That baby.
Yeah, I was a Greer. I can't remember. I'm sure we won every year. I'm not sure.
Well, absolutely. I mean, why else? We didn't play to lose, did we?
No, but the tug of war across the river, do they still do that?
Yeah, I think so. It's one of the great traditions that school's ever had. The one year I lost, the next day, Mr. Gentry had these great drawings, and he did this caricature of me trying to swim up the bank, and he's got this nose that sticks out forever. And I'll never forget the next day I walked in there and I was like, oh, God, really? Do we have to go there?
That's awesome.
I remember Nashville Bridge Company brought the rope out. And as a kid, it was as big as my leg. I mean, it was, it's one of those indelible marks on a simple child.
How cool is this tonight?
It's a neat deal. It's something that if we're going to compete and if we're going to win games, it's the kind of facility that it's going to take to get these guys and gals. And really, for me, my goal's always been here. If I could help one more child, then would have been helped if I wasn't here. That's my goal, not to save 50 people or 10 or 2, but 1. So when I go to sleep at night, I feel good that we've helped more than one child that wouldn't have. So I'm really proud of the building.
So this is not easy for a school at this level to pull off. Did you ever have a doubt that this was going to happen?
Yeah, in fact, it's a fun story. Chris came to me and said, we've hired this athletic facilities consultant, and they say we need to do this. I said, oh, sure we do. Yeah, what's that cost? What's that cost, fella? He said, $60 million. And so sarcastically, I said, why don't we put a dome over the stadium? He said, what do you mean? I said, we got just good a chance of raising $300 million and 60. But the small part I played and Denise played was putting it's a puzzle. And you put the puzzle together. So it took some investor money, meaning we raised 20 or 25 million. And we have something we're really proud of here is the 9 state schools, we're number 8, the lowest in tuition. The only school that has lower tuition than we do, tuition and fees, is Tennessee State, which may tell you something. But I'm not saying that's good or bad. I'm just a fact. So we had some room where our student investors or student customers who could help us pay for this. So we bonded a lot of it, and we raised a lot of it, and we bummed a lot of it. So it was putting a puzzle together.
So I'm guessing not only have you been through it, I haven't. I'll see it here in a little while. I'm guessing you've been through every last piece of it. Is it what you hoped? Is it what you dreamed?
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. Our goal, and I've mentioned this to you before, President McPhee asked me to be chairman of the committee that hired Chris. And when we interviewed, my number one, the year before, we were the worst in the country on whatever the NCAA scholastic score is. What's that? They rate, I mean, they have a score. Yeah. It's not we're the best in this, but I mean, it's finite. And we were the worst in the country. Our football program was. And I said to Chris, I can take losing 10 games in football. I got that. But I can't take being last because nobody makes a living in football unless you coach it. I mean, we've got a couple exceptions now, but there's been 400 players in the last 3 years, and we got 2 that make a living. So you don't make a living playing football. So if we don't get them a degree, we haven't done it. We've just exploited them. So we now have the highest graduation rate of any public school in America. We're tied with Vanderbilt for number 3. I'm not sure who's 1 and 2, but that's not a conjecture. Who's the prettiest? I mean, that's NCAA numbers. So if they come here, they leave here with a degree. Now, what the NIL and the transfer rules are going to do to that and how you calculate that, my Lord, I don't have a clue. Interesting, the women's sports have always graduated them all. Insel hadn't missed one in years. But our basketball, which traditionally basketball is the worst, I'm talking about NCAA, if you stay with us 4 years, you graduated. Well, it's because we made them. Because we don't want them digging a ditch at $20 an hour. We want them to be a citizen in their community and Chris has accomplished that. We spent the resources to make that happen. So that's good. Really good.
I am thrilled that I had a change of answer a couple hours after Mark Owens called me to say, would you do this show? And I announced to him, I'm going to be on vacation. I didn't like the way that felt, and I didn't like the way it sounded. The Smith family, Reese, Steve, all of them been way too good to me. And there was no way that no was the correct answer. Thank you for coming over here.
Thank you. That's more than kind. Appreciate you.
Okay, we're going to go to the break on that. Steve Smith joining us to talk a little bit MTSU in this beautiful facility. Tonight is sort of round one of the whole deal. Tomorrow, there's more of it at 9 a.m. Anyway, we've had fun here. We'll go to the break, and then we'll have Plaster Bet of the Day. Stay tuned.
Tonight, your Nashville Sounds are back on the road to start a 6-game series in Scranton Wilkes-Barre. Pre-game at 5:20.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan and the Game Nashville app.
Get ready to savor the legendary taste that's been tantalizing taste buds for almost a century. This week's Nashville's best deal is Prince's Hot Chicken, the original and iconic hot chicken joint. For a limited time, grab a $25 gift card for half the price at 949thefan.com. Hurry before they're all gone. Treat yourself to the authentic Nashville hot chicken experience at Prince's Hot Chicken, where tradition meets flavor. Don't miss out. Visit 949thefan.com today to get a taste of Prince's Hot Chicken, Nashville's original hot chicken.
This summer, the Legends of the West invite you to the Buffalo Center of the West in Cody, Wyoming. 5 museums come alive with timeless Western art, heroic tales, and native cultures. Experience live birds of prey, crackling chuck wagon dinners, and behind-the-scenes adventures. Just 50 miles from Yellowstone's East Gate, our doors open wide to explorers young and old. One ticket grants you 2 days, enough time to let curiosity lead the way. Visit centerofthewest.org.
Hey guys, Big Joe here for my friends over at Busy Bee. It is July and it is hot, so you need to make sure your HVAC is up and running, and that is why you need to be a member of the Beehive Club. I am a member, and it is the best. The peace of mind Busy Bee gives me that if anything goes wrong, it is taken care of is wonderful, and we need you. Let's go to busybeehvac.com, busybeehvac.com. Sign up today and get 1 free yearly Beehive membership to give to anyone in your neighborhood. That's how great it is. Busy Bee, always there for you.
It's the George Plaster Show.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Final segment, broadcasting live from MTSU, the ribbon cutting of the brand new facility. We've got Kelly back in here.
You know, he didn't know all that stuff that he heard today. Kelly, you'd never heard the Rick Insell story, had you?
I had not, man. That's a pretty good story, George. I can't believe that he leaned on you, though. Good gracious. I mean, he stooped to a level there that we're just not sure.
No, the man should be smarter than that. I don't think he leaned on me for anything other than just to say, do you think this could happen? And
Gotcha.
But it was, I'll say this, when that guy turns it on, there isn't anybody like him.
Motivator.
Here we go.
Look at that.
1-1 last night. Seattle got a win. The Yankees couldn't get it done.
No, they lost at home to Tampa. So here's where we're going tonight. The Detroit Tigers appeared. Oh, this is a nice picture.
Stay over there, George.
People are enjoying it. Okay. Detroit seems to be back on a roll. They're home against Arizona. We are taking Detroit. Here's a first. I'm going against the Braves.
Wow.
Let me explain why. Eric Fetty. He will make he'll make his Atlanta debut tonight. And I just don't see it.
They are such a piecemeal operation right now.
It is a gym shoe operation.
That's nice.
Kelly, and at times, so is our show.
I wasn't going to say it. You did, though.
So I'm looking right. I could throw a water balloon right over here. Blue Raider Hall of Fame donor recognition. principal donor Rose and Emmett Kennan. And then right below that, Mr. Kelly Holcomb. Good.
Boom.
That's pretty cool.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks.
Hey, talk to you tomorrow.
See you, brother.
Billy, behave.
I'll try.
And thanks to all of you who have joined us today. This is going to be quite a celebration here. And knowing the Smith family the way I do, I'm really pumped to be included. I'm glad we were able to work this out. Saying no was never going to be the right answer. This is 94.9, The Fan.